Okay, guys, as I mentioned, I'm out today. I'm in a different school, and what your job today to do is to continue with the paired writing, right? Yesterday, you should have completed one of the graphic organizers. I think most of you completed it on the poem Home. And now today, you're going to look at the other selection, and you're going to go through and complete the graphic organizer for it, okay? Here we go. Here's mine for Home, right? Okay. So, just like we had said before, in Home, the speaker's feelings change from emotion 1 at the beginning to emotion 2 at the end, by the end. And again, you have actual emotions in there, hopefully. And evidence 1 was a quote or a paraphrase from the story, from the poem, something that happened in there. I just type it up in here. And then my warrant was my explanation. How did that evidence show maybe his emotions at the beginning of the poem, okay? And then evidence number 2 is the feelings at the end of the poem, and the warrant is how does that show his feelings at the end, right? Okay, so there we should have evidence that shows how they feel at the beginning and evidence that shows how they feel at the end, explanation in our warrant section, right? The part of this that's being left unsaid is we now have the change. So when we go to write this up, we should be able to explain how this is a change, right? If the character, let's take Home, for example, a lot of you identify that he's comfortable at the beginning, but at the end he's lonely or gloomy. So there's your change, right? What you will need to do when we get to the writing, and we'll look at this again closer in the future, is explaining how he goes from comfortable to lonely, right? And actually, tomorrow's lesson, we're going to look at what causes that change. What has caused him to change? It's worth looking into right now, but you don't really need to worry about it because we have a whole other lesson planned just for that, okay? So, what I would like you to do, the big thing you want to finish today, is you made copies of this graphic organizer, okay? And the first thing is you want to make sure you finish it for whatever piece you haven't worked on yet. For most of you, that's going to be Quest of the Silver Fleece. You're going to show how the feelings of the main character in that case, right? We would need to change here Home to Quest of the Silver Fleece. And we're going to want to change speaker to the main character. We can even put boy because it's pretty clear from the example that he's a boy. Okay? So that's step 1. As soon as both those graphic organizers are done, you're going to move on to the next step. So what you should do right now is pause this video if you're still watching. Okay? Well, hopefully you're still watching because you're supposed to be. So pause the video, and when you're ready for the next step of it, just get right back into this video, hit play, and I'll explain the final step. How's everybody doing today? Good? Okay, excellent. Welcome back. All right, so we've got 2 graphic organizers done. 1, how the character's feelings change in the poem from the beginning to the end. And the second, how the character's feelings change from the beginning to the end of that story, or the part of the story, Quest of the Silver Fleece, right? Okay. Now, the other day we talked, you need 3 body paragraphs. 1 on Home, 1 on Quest of the Silver Fleece, and then the final one on what are the similarities and differences between those changes, okay? And we're going to get started on this graphic organizer. And it's going to be tricky. And this is where I need you guys to bear with me a little bit, okay? Obviously, when you're out, when the teacher's out, things have to go a little bit out of order, and they have to change up a little bit. So if you get stressed or you're stuck on this part of it, don't freak out about it. We'll get everybody caught up when I come back, okay? I'm not going to stress about it. You don't need to stress about it, okay? So, however, you have another copy. I want you to go into your final copy. This is going to be the one where we are going to look at how the changes are similar or different, okay? So, looks exactly the same as the others. And here, it's the same introduction, right? And our claim. This time, our claim is a little bit different, okay? And I've given you a basic format to follow. You can follow this as much as you want. If you have a better way of saying it, that's fine. But if you look, there are many similarities/differences between the way the main character and the Quest of the Silver Fleece feelings change and the change of the speaker's feelings in Home. And even that, rereading it, I don't love it. I think there are some changes you guys could make to make that better. Starting with Are they similar or different? Are the way these characters' feelings change, are they similar or are they different? Okay? And you're going to pick one. Let's say you find that there's a lot of similarities. Okay? Get rid of differences here. Well, hopefully you guys are better at clicking than me, but just, highlight differences and delete. Or find there's a lot of differences, highlight similarities and delete. Okay? Then we need to get into our evidence, right? The evidence is going to be, how do you see that the change in feelings is similar, or how do you see that the change of feelings is different in these two selections? Okay? So, you're going to need to go to both of them. We go in there and we look at, what did we say in my first graphic organizer about how the speaker's feelings at home change? Go to your second one. How did the characters of the boy's feeling in Quest of the Silver Fleece change, right? Okay. So now, let's say you found that they both changed in a positive way. I'm not saying that's an answer. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's a wrong answer. So don't put that in there. I'm just giving it to you as an example, right? We could say, I don't like it when the font is that big. I'm going to change it. Okay. So, and I don't want it to be bold. Both the speaker in home and the boy in Quest of the Silver Fleece experience positive changes in their feelings. Okay? So then my warrant. How does this show my claim, right? Well, this is where I'm probably even going to get into some more evidence, right? Okay, but I'm going to say, maybe you say the boy went from down and glum, because who doesn't like the word glum, in Silver Fleece. Again, I'm just using shorthand. You can too as much as you want because it is a graphic organizer. To upbeat and happy, the speaker in home was, maybe you saying he's depressed at first. Please don't say this because, again, these are wrong. I'm just giving you an example. Was depressed at first, but by the end was upbeat. Right? And maybe I go and I give specific lines if I feel like I need to, okay? There's one piece of evidence and one warrant, okay? Now, this is where it's going to get tricky, and this is where you might need to wait for me to come back, which I'm totally fine with, but if you're up for the challenge, go for it. Evidence 2, see if you can find another way to see that those changes are similar, or are they different? Okay, maybe they both happen quickly. Maybe they both happen because of the same thing, which, again, we're going to get into in the future on another assignment. So don't stress too much about this, okay? But the good news with today is if you get this far and if you get to these points, you're way ahead of the game, okay? And that's excellent. The other thing, I would rather see you go ahead and try these and find out we did them wrong and all we have to do is go back and change than anything, okay? But again, don't stress about it. Just try your best, okay? The big thing by the end of the block today is that you are going to want at least 2 graphic organizers done. You are going to want to have one for home and one for Quest of the Silver Fleece. Done. Completely done. 2 pieces of evidence, 2 warrants, claims, all done. I don't think that should take you very long. You should be fine on that. The bonus is when we get into this third one, okay? I would say at the very least you want to have a claim in the third one done. I really think we can all get a piece of evidence and a warrant done, okay? And bonus would be if we get a second piece of evidence and warrant done. But again, we're not going to worry or stress about that, okay? I've only got about 25 seconds left on this recording, so I'm going to stop and get out of it. But there is your work. Don't rush through it. Take your time, because when you finish, what you are going to do is just read silently, so there's no point to rushing through. All of this work should be individual, and I will not have anybody's name left for me tomorrow when I come back. All right, good luck.